I want you guys to deal with your problems by becoming rich. Now that's a quote from The Wolf of Wall Street, but that quote actually has a fair amount of truth to it. When you become rich, when you make lots of money, when you become wealthy, and preferably unbelievably wealthy, as we've talked about in other videos, it's actually easier to get rich, really rich, than it is to be poor, and it's easier to get really, really rich, like make $1 million a year, than it is to make, let's say, $100,000 a year. Simply because most people are not going for the big goal. You know, you have, what was the statistic I was reading? You have, I think it's, I should have memorized this before I made this video for you guys, but I want to say it's like 250,000 or 300,000 people every year either apply or get accepted to nursing school. So if you're going to nursing school to be a nurse, what's the average income you're going to make? 50, 80-ish a year, right around there, maybe a little bit higher, maybe a little bit lower. So let's use the lower number, 250,000 people. So that means 250,000 people in their head said, you know what, being a nurse would be a good career for me. Because it's, you know, they probably say stuff, they justify it like it's a stable place, right? You know, I become a nurse, I know it's going to be stable, I'll be able to provide a good living for myself, and I'll be secure, I'll have a secure job, because, you know, people get sick and they need to be taken care of, and, you know, you have the people, I don't want to say the older generation, but the older generation for me, they're getting into their later years, and as you know, as you get older, your body starts to fall apart a little bit more, so maybe a nurse is a good career. Right? And there's nothing wrong with that if you're looking for stability. But I'm not here to teach you how to be stable or how to have, you know, make 50 or 70 grand a year. I'm here to teach you how to become rich. Now, how many people a year do you think say, you know what, I want to make over $1 million a year? Do you think more people or less people say that they want to make $1 million a year compared to the people that say they want to go to nursing school to make 50 to 80 grand a year? It's less. And because there's less people who are going after a goal of making a lot of money, it's easier to make that money because there's no competition. It's kind of hard. I mean, I guess it's relatively competitive, let's say, to getting to get accepted into nursing school. Roughly, right? Why is that? Because a lot of people want to be nurses. How many people are really going after making $1 million a year? Not that many. There's a lot more people that want to be nurses than want to make $1 million a year. Nothing wrong with being a nurse if that's what you really want to do. But because of that, it's easier to be rich. And once you become rich, right? I remember when I was making 20 grand a year and I thought making $100,000 a year was like it was going to be amazing. And when I made 100 grand a year, it was literally, and I'm not bullshitting, 10 times easier for me to make 100 grand a year than it was making 20 grand a year. Because it was the same thing. The space that I got into and the goal that I set and the environment I put myself in to make $100,000 a year, very few people were trying to compete for. So it was very easy. When I was making 20 grand a year, I was a server. Well, everybody is trying to be a server, right? Everyone's a server. Everyone gets serving jobs. They jump around from serving jobs. So because of that, it was easier to make $100,000 a year than it was to make $20,000 a year. And if it was hard, guys, I would tell you it was hard. But I'm telling you from personal experience, from starting multiple businesses where I've made over $100,000 a year, it's easier to make 100 grand a year than it is to make $10,000 or $20,000 a year. And it is easier to make $1 million a year than it is to make $100,000 a year. So with that said, let's just dive right into the content, all right? So when you become rich, when you become wealthy, it automatically solves a lot of other problems that you have. So let me give you an example. So Joe is 35 years old. He's married. He's got a house. He's got a couple kids. You know, he's got a job, right? This sounds kind of like the average American, or if you're not in America, this does sound like the average American, but it might sound like the average person in, you know, other countries as well. So he wakes up for work at 8 o'clock. And, well, he wants to wake up at 8, but he has to wake up at 7 because his kids are up. And he's got to, you know, him and his wife, you know, they get their kid up and they take care of their kids and they get their kids fed and they get them off to school. And Joe's already starting the day because he's a little bit tired because he didn't get that much sleep the night before. So he's already starting the day on not that good of a foot. Well, Joe, he goes to his job. And Joe's got a job, making, let's say, 60 grand a year. Not bad, right? 60 grand a year. That's above average for the average person's income in the United States. He's making 60 grand a year, but he has to go to a job he doesn't really like. And he has to deal with a boss he's not too fond of. He just kind of has to deal with it because he needs the money to pay for the mortgage and the kids and all that stuff. So he's working and he works 9 to 5. Well, on the way to work, he's kind of tired, so he has to go and he has to spend some money on some coffee because he has to get started. He's got to, get coffee to wake him up. So he drinks this coffee. With coffee, by the way, guys, is not necessarily the healthiest thing for you. Some coffee is not going to, kill you or anything like that, but, coffee got a lot of sugar in it, stuff like that. So, and then around 3 o'clock, he's at the office. He's a little stressed out. He says, you know what, I'm stressed out. I'm going to go eat some junk food to try to suppress the stress that I feel. I'm going to give myself a sugar rush to, give me a different feeling, to try to change the internal state that I feel inside. So Joe goes to the vending machine and, gets a candy bar and maybe he gets a cup of hot chocolate or another cup of coffee or a Red Bull or something like that. Well, now it's the end of the day and Joe drives home. Didn't really have that good of a day at work. He was at work, but he was stressed out. He's got to deal with some fucking knuckleheads, right? If you've ever worked in customer service like I have, there's lots of people out there that are pretty stupid. So he's got to deal with some dumb fucking people. So he's kind of stressed out. Fuck, I'm stressed out. So he goes home. And his 2 kids come home. And his 2 kids are all excited because kids get excited. And the kids want to play with him. Well, Joe, unfortunately, is stressed out at work. He's kind of tired. He's not feeling too good. He plops down in front of the TV and watches TV. His kids want to play with him, but he just needs some time to relax. So he's neglecting spending time with his kids. His kids might even think, does Daddy not love me? Does Daddy not care about me? I'm here expressing myself to Dad. However, Dad just kind of, he says he doesn't want to, the kids don't understand. The kids don't have any reference points of your experience in work. They might think, fuck, Dad just doesn't care about me as much as we know that you care about your kids if you have kids. Joe eats supper. He tries to spend some time with his kids, right? Maybe his kids have extracurricular activities. So maybe Dad drives them to an extracurricular activity. Maybe Tommy's got Boy Scouts, so he takes them to Boy Scouts. This is kind of a, typical family, right? Well, Boy Scouts, there's some activities, and maybe there's some supplies Dad needs to get, but Dad needs to get some supplies for Tommy for Boy Scouts. However, Dad's trying to watch his budget. Dad doesn't have an unlimited amount of money. So now Dad drives home stressed out because he needs to spend money for this thing in Boy Scouts for his kid that he loves, but he doesn't really have the money to do so. So what's he going to say? Is he going to make up some excuse? Is he going to just go into more debt than what he already has? What's he going to do? So now Dad is really stressed. He gets all the kids to bed. Dad's laying there with Mom in bed. Maybe. I don't know. Stressed out. He's worried about money. He has bills that are due. He already has enough bills and problems. Now he has to worry about getting money for Tommy. His wife wants to go, his wife wants to go do this thing on the weekend that costs money. Not Tommy, but Dad doesn't have a lot of money for it. They're trying to save money. What's he going to do? Now Dad stays up at night worrying about money. Worry eats away at who you are inside. All right, there's been a bunch of studies that have shown that worry has a very bad impact on your immune system. So that would mean that it's easier for you to get sick. Tommy's stressed out. It's hard for him to go to bed. He goes to bed. He wakes up tired the next day. He didn't get a full night's rest. And that's another thing that's not good for your body. You need to rest. You need to get the right amount of sleep. It's not good to, not get the right amount of sleep. And the process continues. If we strip away everything and look at the core, if Dad were to make lots of money, that would fix almost all of his problems. Let me give you an example. Let's say that Dad starts a business. Dad starts a business. Dad maybe goes through one of my programs and starts making a lot of money. Or Dad figures maybe he takes the advice from these videos I give you and he goes out there and he starts his own business, right? Or he follows some step to become wealthy. Dad is now making a lot of money with a business that's automated. So let's say he's where I was. When I had that detail shop, I was making $100,000 a year working 12 hours a week. And I actually had another business going where I was working like 1 to 2 hours a week making $200,000 a year. So let's say that Dad just did one business, right? So let's say Dad started a business, and a year later, Dad now is making $100,000 a year, working 12 hours a week. Very doable. Anybody could do this. You have the ability to do what I'm telling you to do, what I'm describing right now. Well, let's look at Dad's life now. Dad wakes up. He's excited when he wakes up. Why is he excited? Because he doesn't have to go fucking work 9 hours at a job with an idiot, dumb boss that he doesn't like, with coworkers he's not really fond of, and deal with people that he has to act like he cares about, which really he doesn't give two flying fucks about. So, he's already in a good mood. He wakes up, and guess what? Because he's made more money, he's got money to do stuff. All of his bills are paid. His credit card debt he's paid down, and he's got lots of money saved up. So he's already waking up in a good position. He doesn't really have anything to worry about, right? If you got a couple kids and you got a house and you got a wife, shit's going to happen. Something with the car is going to go wrong. One of the kids are going to get sick. They're going to get hurt, running around, being kids. They're going to break something. Stuff. That's how it is, right? He doesn't have any of that worry or anxiety that's in the back of his mind anymore. So because of that, Dad got a better night's sleep, wakes up in a better mood. Now, guess what? When his kids are getting ready for school, he spends more time and more focus with his kids. Because in the back of his mind, he's not worried about all the bullshit. He puts more of his time right there in the present with his kids. Gets his kids off to school. Guess what, guys? He's only working 12 hours a week now. Because he's got an automated business. Because he made a little sacrifice. He made his life get out of proportion a little bit to focus on his business, and now he's got his business up and running. He was able to quit his job. Now he has complete balance in his life. So because he's only working 12 hours, he spends some time with his wife. Right? Maybe him and his wife, they sit out on the balcony, eating breakfast, discussing life, spending time with each other, and just bonding and enjoying each other's company. He enthusiastically kisses his wife, heads off to his business for, let's say, 3 hours. He goes to his business, makes sure everything's doing all right. A lot of times, by the way, you can work less than it's when your business gets going, you'll be working a lot less than 12 hours a week. I got a buddy of mine that makes $600 a day in profit. He has a business where it's a lawn mowing business. So he gets people, he's got a website where people go to the website, they say, hey, I need someone to cut my lawn. People that cut lawns go to his website, they say, oh, I'll take this job, and he makes a piece of it. He spends no more than 2 hours a week, makes $600 a day in net profit. So a lot of times he'll be spending it'll be a lot less time. Anyway, Dad goes to the business for, let's say, 11 to 2. And that's it. The business is going good. He comes home. Well, guess what? Dad has always wanted to exercise. But when Dad had a job, he didn't have enough time. He was too stressful to exercise. Well, since Dad was only at the office for 3 hours, and the work he was doing was not that bad, like he was like looking at numbers and checking stuff, he wasn't dealing with stupid employees. He is the fucking boss. He gets to do what he wants to do. He loves the boss because it's himself. He comes home, he's got some time, he goes to the gym. While he's at the gym, did I just get... You guys hear that? Somebody just bought something from me. Very nice. All right, I just made some money. So, all right. And now that's an email notification saying that they just paid me. All right, cool. So, see, automated businesses are very good. So, what was I saying, guys? Work with me, talk to me, be there with me. Where were we getting at? Oh, so when he's exercising at the gym, guess what? He's raising his immune system. So because of that, he's working out, he's getting in good shape. He's, it's going to not only give him more energy now, it's going to help him by making your immune system better. And by working out, it allows you to, not get sick. You have a less likely chance of getting sick because your immune system's raised. And then on top of that, you have a less likely chance of getting diseases as you get older because you're keeping your body in good shape. Your body's like a machine. You got to kind of keep it in the good shape. So he comes home. He's fully energized. He worked out. He's in a good mood. Comes home. He kisses his wife passionately. He says, you know what, babe? We got some time before the kids come home because, they're coming home. Let's go to the park. He goes to the park, spends some time with his wife. Life is good. The kids come home. The kids are involved in extracurricular activities. Maybe Tommy comes home and wants to play catch with his dad. Well, guess what? Dad now has time to play catch with his son. Dad now gets to spend time with the son and enjoy life with the son. I see a lot of people on Facebook and they say, man, my kids are growing up so fast. They're not growing up so fast. You're just so busy working at a job that you don't have enough time to spend with your kids. When you get this part of your life handled, when you get the money part of your life handled, you get to spend a lot of time with your kids, and then you get to watch your kids as they grow and as they mature. So he goes out, he spends a couple hours playing catch with his son. His son is very thankful, right? He might not express it, but Tommy's like, man. Tommy doesn't probably have this thought process, but Tommy inside is feeling, man, Dad loves me. He spent time with me. He was there for me. He looked like he was in a good mood because Dad's not fucking worried about work or bills because he has money. All that shit's fucking paid for. Then afterwards, he eats dinner with his kids. He spends time with his kids. Maybe he watches a movie with his wife. And he falls asleep quickly and peacefully. And it all, guys, it all had to do with him getting his money part of his life handled. Because once you become rich, guys, once you make lots of fucking money, every other piece of your life automatically starts to fall into place. Whether you like it or not, in the world we live in, you need money to live, to survive, to thrive and prosper. And when you can make lots of money, and you can do it in the way to where you're spending little time making that money, every other part of your life will fall into place. So I will end this video by quoting the Wolf of Wall Street one more time. I want you to deal with your problems by becoming rich.